section 3.1, and reading to the end in ancient Greek. And because this is, let's say, more difficult than most would like to admit, I will be reading starting with the English, and I'll read it in English for a section, then read the same thing in Greek, and then go back and forth between English and Greek, and hopefully finish book 3, at least in this section of reading. So without further ado, we are starting again Cyropaedia, book 3, section 3. On the following day, Cyrus gave the envoy the commission of which he had spoken and sent him on his way. And the Armenian king and the Chaldeans sent along those who they thought would be most competent to cooperate and to say what was appropriate concerning Cyrus. Then he manned the fort with a competent garrison, supplied it with all things necessary, and left in command a Mede, who he thought would be most acceptable to Cyaxares. And then he departed, taking with him not only the army which he had brought with him, but also the reinforcements that he had received from the Armenians, and about 4,000 Chaldeans who considered themselves actually better than all the rest put together. Tide Isterea, ote Kyros epempe, ton angelon epistilas, osaperefi ke o Armenios ke I Chaldei sinepempon, us ikonotatu sinomizonina ke simpraxa ke pin perikiru ta prosikonda, ekthatutu kataskiv asas o Kyros to frurion ke philaxin ikanis ke tis epitivis pasi ke arkonda afton katalipon midon on oeto kiaxari on malista carisista bec lavot to strativma oson te ilthan echon ke opararmenion proseleve ke tus parakalveon is tetrakischilius ondo ke simpandon ton alon creondas ina. And when he came down into the inhabited part of the country, not one of the Armenians remained indoors, but all, both men and women, in their joy and in the restoration of peace, came forth to meet him, each one carrying or bringing whatever he had of value, and their king did not disapprove. For he thought that Cyrus would thus be all the better pleased at receiving honor from all. And finally also the queen, and with her daughters, and her younger son came up to him, bringing not only the money, which before Cyrus had refused to take, but also other gifts as well. Os the Katevi, Eastin Ikumenin, Udis Eminen, Andon Armenion, Ut Anir Ut Gini, Elapandes, E Bindon, E Domini, Ti Irini, Ke Ferundes, Ke Agondes, Oti Ekastos, Axion Ika. O the Armenios, Tutis, Uk Ichtheto, Utos on nomizon, keton kiron, malon, edasta, ti ipo pandon timi, telos the I bindise, ke igini tu armeniu, castigateras ecusa, keton neoteronion, ke sin alis thoris, to crision ecomizen, o proteron uk ethela lavine kiros. And when he saw it, Cyrus said, You shall not make me go about doing good for pay. No, good queen, take back home with you this money which you bring, and do not give it to the king again to bury. But with it get your son as fine an outfit as possible, and send him to the army, and with what is left get both for yourself and for your husband, your daughters, and your sons, anything the possession of which will enable you to adorn yourselves more handsomely, and spend your days more happily. But let it suffice, he added, to bury in the earth only our bodies, when the end shall come to each. Keokiros idoni ben, imis me upisete, mistu perionda evegetin alasi ogina, acusataftin tar crimata aferis apithi, ke to men armenio miketi thos avta, katorixe ekpempson the ton ion os kalista apavton, mikatiscavasasa epi tin stratian. Apo the ton lipon, kto ke safti, ke to andri, ke testi getrasi, ke tisiis, oti kektimeni, ke kosmisasta kalison, ke ilion ton eona dioxita, is the tingin efi archito ta somata, otan ekastos teleftisi katakriptin. Thus he spoke and rode past her, and the king of Armenia escorted him on his way, as did all the rest of the people, proclaiming him again and again her benefactor, their valiant hero. And this they continued to do so until he had quitted their borders. And as there was now peace at home, the king increased the contingent of troops that he sent with him. Omentaf dipon parilaven o the Armenios sim prupempe ke ali pandas anthropi anakalundas ton evgetin ton andra ton agathon ke ton epiun eos ectis koros pin sin elite thefto Armenios ke stratian pleona os irenis iki usis. Thus Cyrus departed, not only enriched with the ready money that he had received, but also having secured by his conduct far larger funds in reserve to draw upon in time of need. That night he encamped upon the frontier, and the next day he sent the army and the money to Cyaxares, for he was near by, as he had promised to be. But Cyrus himself went hunting with Tigranes and the best of his Persians, wherever they came across game, and he was delighted with the sport. Uto the Okiros apii ke krimatismenos uk eleve monon crimata ala poli pliona tuton itimas menos diaton tropon osta lambanin opota veito ke tota men estrato pedevsato entis methories ti the isterea to men stratima ke ta crimata epimsa pros kiexari. O the plesion in o sper ephisen utos da sin ti grani ke person tis aristis ethera opuper epi tinhanian the reis ke evfraneto. Now, when he came back to Media, he gave to each of his captains as much of the money as he thought sufficient, so that they in turn might be able to reward any of the men under them with whose conduct they were pleased. For he thought that if each one made his division worthy of commendation, he would find the whole army in fine condition. And whenever he himself saw anywhere anything calculated to improve his army, he always procured it and distributed it in presents from time to time among the most deserving. For he thought that everything that his army had that was beautiful and fine was an adornment to himself. Επί δε εφήκετο εις μύδους, τον κρematon έδωκε της αυτού ταξιάρχης, όσα εδώκει εκάστο η Καναίνα, όπως και εκείνη έχιεν τιμάν, ή τινας αγενετο ton if αυτούς, ενόμι ζεγάρ ή έκαστος το μέρος αξιέπαινον ποιήσια, το όλον αυτό καλώς έχει. Και αυτός δε ότι που καλόν ήδη ον εις στρατιάν ταύτα κτόμενος διεδωρείτο της αΐ αξιοτάτης, νομίζον ότι καλόν αγαθόν έχει το στραύματα τούτης απασύν αυτός και κοσμίστα. And when he was about to distribute a portion of what he had received, he took his place in the midst of the captains, lieutenants, and all whom he was about to reward, and spoke to this effect: My friends, there seems now to be a kind of gladness in our hearts, both because some degree of prosperity has come to us, and because we have the means of rewarding those whom we will, and of receiving rewards, each according to his deserts. Inika, that of Tis, via Vithu on Eleven, Elaxen o the pos is Tomason ton taxiarchon ke lochagon ke pandon osus etima. Andres Fili. Though ki imin Afrosini tis nin parina keoti evporia tis pros geganite keota echomen af on timan exomen us an vulomatha ketimastha osan ekastos oxiosi. But let us be sure to remember to what kind of conduct these blessings are due. For if you will consider, you will find that it is this: watching when occasion demanded, undergoing toil, making due haste, and never yielding to the enemy. Accordingly, we must, in the future, also be brave men, knowing that obedience, perseverance, and the endurance of toil and danger at the critical time bring the great pleasures of the great blessings. Pandos thee, anamimnis komatha, ta pi ata erga tuton tonagathon estin etina. Scopumenigar evrisite to te agripnista, opu evi ke to ponisa, ke to spevsa, ke to mi ixe tis polemit, utos un cri, ke to lipon andras agathusina, gignoskundas oti tas megalas, Idonas ke tagatha ta megala I pitho ke I carteria ke I ento hero poni ke kindini horekonda. Cyrus now saw that his soldiers were in good physical condition to endure the fatigue of military service, that their hearts were disposed to regard the enemy with contempt, that they were skilled each in the exercise adapted to his kind of armor, and that they were all well disciplined to obey the officers. Accordingly, he was eager to undertake some move against the enemy at once, for he knew the generals often find some even of their best laid plans brought to naught through the delay. Katanoon thou Kyros os ev men avtoichon, ta somata I stratiota prostothenasta stratioticus ponus ferin, ev the tastikos prostokatophronin ton polemion, epistimones the isan ta proseconda, tf ton acasti o plisi, que prostopisis the tis arcusi, eora pandas ev par escavas menus ectuton un epithemi, ti ethi ton prostus polemius pratin, gignosgon otien to melin polakis tis arcusi, que tis calis parascavis aliundati. And he further observed that because they were so eager to excel in those exercises in which they vied with one another, many of the soldiers were even jealous of one another. For this reason also he wished to lead them into the enemy's country as soon as possible, for he knew that common dangers make comrades kindly disposed toward one another, and that in the midst of such dangers there is no jealousy of those who wear decorations on their armor, or of those who are striving for glory. On the contrary, soldiers praise and love their fellows even more because they recognize in them co-workers for the common good. Eti the oron oti philotimos acondes en is andigonizondo, poli ke epiphonos ichon pros alilus ton stratioton ke tuton anica exagin of tus evulita istin polemion os takista. Ivos oti kini kindini philophronos piusin achin tus simachus prosalilus, ke uketi in tuto utatis in oplis cos mumenis thonusin utatis thoxis ephem manis alamalon ke epinusi ke aspazonda tiuti tus omius nomizondes sinergus aftus tu kinu agathu ina. I'm on section 311 now. Accordingly, he first completely armed his forces and marshaled them in the best and most imposing order possible. Then he called together the generals, colonels, captains, and lieutenants, for these had been exempted from enrollment in the line to the regular battalions. And even when it was necessary for any of them to report to the commander-in-chief and to transmit any order, no part of the army was left without a commanding officer. For the sergeants and corporals kept in proper order the divisions from which the inferior officers had gone. Uto the proton men ex oplisa tin stratian ke katetaxen osevinato kalista te ke arista Pita the sin kalasa miracus ke kiliarcus ke taxiarcus ke locagus utigar apoleli isan tu kata legista and tis tacticis arithmis ke opote thei ibakuin to stratigo parangelin ti uthos then honorcon catalipto Allah thothecatharchis ke exatharchis pandata catalipomena theacosmito. And when the staff officers had come together, he conducted them along the ranks, showed them in what good order everything was, and pointed out to them the special strength of each contingent of the auxiliaries. And when he had filled them with an eager desire for immediate action, he bade them then go to their own several divisions and tell their men what he had told them, and try to inspire in them all a desire to begin the campaign, for he wished them all to start out in the best of spirits, and early in the morning they were to meet him at Cyaxares' gates. Epi the siniltho, epikerii, paragon of tus, epidikni, tavtis ta kalosakona, ke vivisken, akaston iskiron in ton sim matichon. Epi the kakinus epiisen, erotikos echin tu ivi piinti, ipen avtisnin men apiena, epi tastakis ke didakskin, akaston tu seav tu, aper avtos, echinus ke pirasta of tu sepithimian, valin pasi tu stratavista, opos ev the motata pandas ex ormondo, paro the prina epitas ki exaru theros. Thereupon they all went their way and proceeded to do so. At daybreak on the day following, the staff officers presented themselves at the gates of the king. So Cyrus went in with him to Cyaxares and began to speak as follows. Tot men the apionda utos pandas epiun ti the istorea ama ti mera parison epikeri epitheras sin tutis un okiros isothon proston xiaxarin irkato logu tiana. I am sure, Cyaxares, said he, that you have this long time been thinking no less than we of the proposition that I am going to lay before you. But perhaps you hesitate to broach the subject for fear it should be thought that you speak of an expedition from here because you are embarrassed at having to mention us. Either men, Afi Oxyxari, Oti Ameli legin si pala thoki uthen eton imin, alisos eskini legin afta, midokis, akthomenos oti trafis imas, exodu memnista. Therefore, since you do not say anything, I will speak both for you and for ourselves. We are all agreed that inasmuch as we are quite ready, it is best not to sit down here in a friendly country and wait till the enemy have invaded your territory, before we begin to fight, but to go as quickly as possible to the enemy's country. Piun si siopas. Ego lexo, ke ipersu, ke iper imon. Imin gardo ki pasi. Piper pareskevasmetha. Pareskevasmetha. Mi epivan emvalosin e polemi istin sin horon. Tota makasta mith antifilia kathimanus imas ipamenin alayana ostagista istin polemion. For now, while we are in your country, we do your people's property much injury, quite against our will. But if we go to the enemy's country, we shall do injury to theirs with all our hearts. Nin mengar enti si hora ondas pola tonson si nomatha akundas. In the istin polemian iomen ta ekinon kakos piisamen idomani. In the second place, you support us now at great expense, whereas if we take the field, we shall get our support from the enemy's country. Epita nin men si imas trefis, pola the panon. In the extra tevsomatha, threpsomatha ectis polemias. And then again, if we were likely to be in any greater danger than here, we should perhaps have to choose the safer course. But their number will be the same whether we wait here or whether we go and meet them in their own territory. And our numbers in the fight will be just the same whether we engage them as they come hither or whether we go against them and join them in battle. Etida imen mizon tisimin okindonos aminen ina eki e enthala isos to asphalastaton in erecteo nin the isi men akidi asunda in te enthala ipomenomen in te istin ekinon iondas ip andome avtis. Isi the imis ondas makumatha. In te enthada epiondas avtus the homatha. In te ep ekinus iondas tin machin sinoptomen. We shall, however, find the courage of our soldiers much better and stronger if we assume the offensive and show that we are not unwilling to face the foes. And they will be much more afraid of us when they hear that we do not sit down at home and cower in fear of them, but that when we hear that they are coming, we advance to meet them and join them in battle as soon as possible. And do not wait until our country is ravaged and take the initiative and devastate theirs. Poli mendi imis veltiosi ke eromenesteris tes psyches ton stration chrysomatha. In iomen epitus ecthrus ke mi acundes oran tho comen tus polemius polithe kakini malon imas fo visonda otan akusosin oti ufo vumani ptisomen avtus iki kathimani al epi esthenomatha prosiondas upon domen ta avtis enos takistos simixomen ke uk anamenomen eosan e imatera cora kakonda alaphthanondas the human teen akinon gene. And surely, he added, if we make them more afraid and ourselves more courageous, I think it would be a great gain to us, and it would, as I reckon it, lessen the danger under such circumstances for us to increase it for the enemy. And my father always says, and so do you, and all the rest agree, that battles are decided more by men's souls than by the strength of their bodies. Keti Efi, iti equinus men fovoroterus piisumen, imas theavtus tharoleuterus, poli tuto imin ego pleonectima nomizo, keton kindhonon utos imin men alato logizome, tis the poleminis miso. Poligor malon ke o patir ai legi ke si fis ke iali the pandas homologusin os emake krinon de malon tes psyches e tes ton somaton romas. Thus he spoke, and Cyaxares answered, do not let yourselves imagine, Cyrus, and the rest of you Persians, that I am embarrassed at having to support you. As for invading the enemy's country at once, however, I too consider that the better plan from every point of view. O men utos ipa, Cyaxares the apokrinato al opos men o kira ke iali perse ego acum achthomai imas trephon mid ipo noita togamendi iena istin polemi an ithi ke emi thoki veltionina prosponda. Well then, said Cyrus, since we are agreed, let us make ready, and as soon as ever the gods give us their sanction, let us march out without a moment's delay. Epitinin Aphiokiros, homognomonumen, siskeva zomatha, ke in taton theonimin thaton, sinkateni, exiomen ostakista. And I think that is actually where I'm going to stop. That was the end of section 20 of Cyropedia, book 3, section 3, 1 through 20. And we will continue more later. And that will be on another stream. Thank you.